Welcome to Lovesick, the podcast, where we dive into health, wellness, and relationships and their impact on the world. Come be a part of the discussion. Join our community by following us on YouTube, Instagram, and listening wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome back to the Lovesick podcast. I am your host, Jada, and with me always is Michael and Dorothea. Hello, guys.
Hello.
And today we have a very special guest. He's joining us from actually Hawaii, so I'm kind of jealous. I'd love to be there. Carl Powell is a 50-plus wellness expert, a motivational speaker, an author, and an entrepreneur. So thank you for joining us, Carl.
Yes.
I'm excited to be here.
So, Carl, my mom and I were talking about Hawaii because we do love Hawaii.
Yes.
We know that you'd moved there to kind of, have a different type of lifestyle, and was wondering, could you give us a little bit on how that's kind of changed things for you?
Well, I have to start by saying Maui is the only place that I ever moved back to. I've lived all over the world. I've lived in Japan. I've lived in Germany, all over the United States. But all the places that I moved there and then moved on. I moved to Maui in 2002, and I found a whole different way of feeling, being connected with the earth, not wearing shoes all of the time, not having to worry about what you wear because everyone's just in a T-shirt and flip-flops. And it's an easy feeling, and it kind of lets you relax. For years, I was always worried, but did these shoes go with these pants? Before I go out, did I need to iron my shirt? And I did that when I first got here, and people were like, dude, you tripping. They have on T-shirts, flip-flops, take that stuff off. But it was really freeing all of a sudden to take all of the, what I call armor off, because all our clothes, shoes, earrings, glasses, all of that is armor. It's just what we use to protect ourselves and to present ourselves out into the world. Where when you take off everything, all you really have is you. So when I took off everything, and I thought what that felt like, just to be me. That's all I was representing, not my clothes, not my me. And it was freeing. And then I tried to go back and live in Maryland. And I was there for 9 years, but every single day I thought, gee, I would like to go back to Hawaii. And because of the way that I felt. And when I finally got back here, it was a no-brainer. This has been my best life situation.
Wow. That's good. That's, which brings me to Qigong. Like, can you explain to our viewers and our audience what Qigong, what EFT and meditation is, and the benefits of how that can help people?
But also how you got into it,
Yes.
too, because you're coming back from Maryland and you're coming to Hawaii. And want to know that whole lovely story.
That's a 3-part, I guess.
That's a long story right there. But so let's start with when I moved from Germany back to the United States. I came to Hawaii, and I started exploring more mind-body style exercises. I've been teaching exercise 43 years this year, 43. But I've always taught weightlifting and aerobics and dance and things like that, the things that were more exterior and not interior. And in 2000, I turned 40, and I was like, wow, not only is my body changing, but my mind is changing. And how my mind wants to be treated and trained was different. So when I got the mind-body connection, that was first through yoga. And I did yoga classes, and that was a wonderful thing. And for 10 years, yoga was my thing. And then as I got more sophisticated in my yoga practice, then Qigong just kind of floated by me once, and I started trying to do Tai Chi. And Tai Chi did not work for me personally. And I didn't understand, like everyone said it was so great and so relaxing. So then I studied further, and I found Qigong. Qigong is the mother of all martial arts. So Taekwondo, karate, all of those they're a derivative of Qigong. And Qigong is simply the practice of slowing down, controlling your breath, being in this moment, and then moving your body in all of the ways God designed. So all of those things appeal to me. To be de-stressed, to be in this moment and to move everybody's body just in the way that it's supposed to be moved. And that doesn't have to be stressful or strenuous, because when people reach our age, not your age, but your mother and I's age.
That's all.
We do. We want something that's more close to our insides, because that's where we move. In life, we start out here and we move in. That's how you grow. So part of that growth was understanding that I had a need that was internal that needed fixed. So no matter how much I worked on that external stuff, the internal stuff was just going on. So with Qigong, I learned what they call it a moving meditation. Just to kind of move and flow into a meditation. EFT is emotional freedom technique. And it's something that I've learned over the last 5 years, and it's tapping. So it's learning how to take Chinese medicine. So that comes from acupressure and acupuncture, finding those points and simply tapping on them, and then adding the Western part of psychology. So then I add affirmations. Even though I feel like I have the weight of the world on my shoulders today, I know that everything is going to be okay. I know in my heart, and I can tap those places, and I tap them in. I'm affirming and I'm stimulating. So EFT is about confirmation and stimulation through your body. And then meditation is all of those things. So that's how I end all of my sessions. It's just being here in the moment. Breathe with me. Where are we? How do you feel? I give people a scale from 0 to 10. How do you feel when you start working out with me that day? And how do you feel when you finish? So that we have a sure indicator of, yes, this is working. And I always speak to my clients first. I find out where your head is. If your head is, I just got out of traffic and I feel really stressed out, you can start tapping. Even though the traffic was really heavy today, I'm here and I'm settled and that's over with. I know that my trip home might have a little bit of traffic, but I believe it's not going to be that bad. You talk to yourself and you tap at the same time, and it's magic. It really is. In the 43 years I've been working with people, this is one of the things that I see work, just really work. So I'm really overjoyed. I actually just wrote a book on tapping. It's called Tap Happy, and it's available on Amazon if I can be so bold.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
But I just think it's magic, and I think that the magic of it is once you learn the technique, you can use it anytime, any place. You don't need me. You don't need the book. Once you know everything, you can kind of settle in for yourself. This is how I'm feeling. These are what my affirmations are, and you can start to work with yourself. Or if or you can work with me every single day. I wouldn't mind that either. So,
right, because you have
either way
classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been tapping ever since I was in Maui with you.
Did you tell me that?
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it.
yeah. Remember, you taught me that when I was in Maui, and I've been tapping ever since.
Oh, see, beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
I actually, I have a hard. It took me a while to start getting into that whole meditation world, because I do feel like as people, we do have so much on our brains a lot, and it is a lot to. It's one thing if you're like, I'm going to go to the gym and work out. As long as it takes you to start being like, okay, physical, that's fine. But I do like the idea of working on your mindset too, because that's a whole other. The brain is a whole other muscle that you need to work out.
And I'm going to tell you this because you're young and you don't understand it yet. You can't separate your mind, your body, and your soul. You just can't. So as hard as we try, I'm just going to go out there and work out my body, but I'm not going to work out my mind. Your mind comes with you.
Yeah.
So so mindset is key to even training in the gym, right? So when you go into the gym, you can't go into the gym with a screwed up mindset like, I don't really want to be here. And that's because if you go in that way, you may as well stay home.
Right.
So part of that is get your mindset together for where you're going to go, what you're going to do. So once you realize, that's a meditation right there.
Right.
Going to the gym and working out, if you learn to breathe properly, it makes your workout, you have more energy because oxygen is energy. So if your energy is flowing more efficiently, your workout's going to be better. So all of these things really work together. even though they may seem really simple to people, especially young people, because they still are way out here.
Right.
I remember that feeling being way out there.
Well, I'm gonna jump in. I think actually this is the way we start, and it's the way, like you said, that we get to as we get older. The truth is, if we learned early the value of it, we could carry it through our whole lives.
Hmm.
And I
Right.
think one of the things for me that you said is, the thing about tapping is, right, you could do it anywhere. You can, where you may not always be able to get to the gym, or you may have to go to a specific place to work out that way. So many of
Right.
your techniques, you can do them wherever you are. And I think that's a really
Right.
important factor, is because you might only have 2 minutes. I don't have time to run to the gym. Or, the other part is, if you go to the gym, that's a commitment, because I got to get there. I got to get sweaty. Then I got to get cleaned up before the next meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I can take moments to
Mm.
do Qigong and to tap and to do these things to center myself, or to get that release prior in a short period of
Mm.
time. Qigong being kind of the way, the flow, right? We're supposed to be in a
Yes.
way, the flow all the time.
Yeah, and it's just connecting your breath and your movement, because if I start to breathe that way, then I start to move that way, then everything comes in unison. And then like I told you, my mind comes with me, my body's coming with me, and my soul is getting filled. And then all of a sudden, I'm all connected. It's just like plugging all your plugs in at the same time,
Right.
and knowing that you're doing it, being very conscious of, I'm plugging in my mind, my body, and my spirit. And wow, this is how I feel.
Carl, I do have a question. I know a lot of people have misconceptions about things too. So, what are the misconceptions about Qigong, EFT, and meditation? And then also, how do you address that, like with your clients or potential clients?
A lot of people think it's too slow. So in that situation, if people come to me and they want to learn Qigong, or people come to me and they really need to learn Qigong, because sometimes people come to me and they say, I want to do Pilates, or I want to do strength training. I sit them down on our first conversation and I see where they're at, actually, because what people say out of their mouth and what they actually are feeling are sometimes so different, really.
Mhm.
Because a lot of people think, oh, I'm doing this because I'm too fat. If you're doing something because you're trying to work off something negative, that's not good, because then you're not talking to yourself in the positive sense. If you say, I'm going to go to the gym because my stomach's so fat, your stomach heard you say that. And it's like, I'm going to grow today just because you called me fat.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So when I start speaking kindly to myself, it changes all aspects of no matter what I do. So if people say to me, I want to do Pilates, I start off with some breath work, see how they feel in their breath work. I give them some core Pilates exercises, and then I lead them out with, just every time we work out, add a little bit more Qigong in the beginning, a little bit more meditation on the end, until I get their workout balanced. Before they know it, they've moved in and now they're understanding because they've done it. So a lot of times it has to be experiential. You can't just tell someone this is going to work and make you feel good. It's just like the first time I tapped, I went into a workshop completely not thinking that was going to work for me at all. And it was a 1-day workshop. And by the end of the day, I was like, okay, negative Carl brain. Because we all have that little negative person back there talking to you. Okay, negative Carl brain. This is cool and this is work, so we're going to explore it. But it's just a matter of when you can get people to slow down and identify that, because that's what all of these practices are. Slow down and identify what is really going on with you. And then how can you grow from there? Because if you want to thrive in life, you have to settle into the earth, right? Settle into the earth and go, okay, this is my earth. This is where I'm growing to. And this is the reason why, maybe, because if a plant is dying in your house, you don't just kill the plant, you just move it to another location.
Mhm.
So sometimes you're not planted in the right place, or you're not planted in the right type of exercise. So Qigong and meditation and EFT give you a good compass to slow down, pause for a minute. How are you really feeling? What do you really need? What are you really what are your real desires? Because a lot of times we think this is what we want, but our desire is that. And when we slow down enough, it just helps us identify where we want to grow to next.
I like that, because some people
Yeah.
want to come in like gyms or do something like that and
Yeah.
just want like instant results. And it's like, but you have to, I think a great point you said was like, let's slow down and what is really like, what do we really need here? And I love that so much.
Yeah, and I want to also talk about, and I know you probably want to maybe do that a little bit later, but I like it, the grow with Carl. Like, can we just talk a little bit about grow with Carl?
Mm. That concept came to me in a dream, really. I didn't really understand what it meant when I woke up one day and I just had that whole growth thing in my head. And what does that mean? And then I started thinking, what does growth mean to me? And so then I just started to write down things and write down ideas. And I was trying to rebrand myself because I knew that I was changing. How was my brand going to change? And how was I going to explain the difference in my brand? But then after I got to, we're always in a state of growth. We're always looking for more growth. And growth is so many things. So when I thought about what it is I want to teach, I want to teach all of those things. I want to teach about slowing down, about loving yourself, about meditation, about you finding your faith in whatever your faith is, and having all of those little discussions is all about growth. But it really does have to do with exercise, because if I'm clear about what it is I want to do in my exercise and where I want to go, where I want to grow, then I can grow. I set up the right light, the right dirt, the right this, the right that. I got water. Now I can grow. So all of those elements that I was teaching led me to growth. And then my mom passed away. My mom was a school teacher, and I always wanted to write a children's book, but I never thought I really had it in me to do. And then after my mother passed, I was laying in bed one day thinking about what growth was, what was happiness. Because everyone, now I call myself the happiness guru, because that's my whole deal, is what's all we want to be is happy, right?
Yeah.
What does it take us to be happy? So I wrote this book about a little boy who could not find happiness. And so what he did, he was walking down the street, he finds this envelope full with seeds, the seed of love, the seed of forgiveness, the seed of blah, 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 blah. So he finds these 7 seeds and he plants them. The first seed he plants is gratitude. And as his gratitude grows, everything around him looks better, because now I'm grateful for what I have. The next seed he plants is love. And he learns, when I love the things I have, I take care of them better. And then he grows again. The next level is kindness. So he plants the seed of kindness. And when you are loving kindness, when you live that way, you grow again. So the book really everything just kind of came together. And and I started a garden. I started with all of my plants. I never had a plant in my life pre-pandemic. But when I had to change my brand and I knew it was time, I just started growing things. I didn't have anything else to do. The weather was perfect. My partner and I said, let's go to the Lowe's. We grabbed a whole bunch of plants and started building our garden. And we have orchids and hundreds of plants by now. But it's all about growth. And that's growth too. It's just learning a new hobby. So life is about growth. And so Carl is about growth. That's what that's about.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And I love, if you love things, you treat them better. I think that there's a really powerful message in that I want to go and kind of highlight briefly, because I think so often in life people start running and racing and trying to get to a location or a finish line. And I think one of the places that we kind of fail each other is a lot of times people are so busy actively like building things in the world that they come home and they think love is I'm going to be universally supported, and this is the place where I make my mess or where I be destructive, right? And I think there's a beautiful thing about if you love it, you treat it better. You want to help it grow.
I did the same thing with the plant.
We really need to practice in life being human beings and not human doings.
Yes.
Because we get real caught up and I got to do. And sometimes it's just being a being. And that's when you can love something, when you can just be with it. But when you were talking about, when you're in a race like that, it's hard to even identify what, how, where, why you love this thing so much. But when you slow down, all of it becomes apparent.
Yeah, and it's a Qigong principle that I was taught once upon a time, that where your intention goes, your energy flows.
Exactly, right.
And it's about having an intention, right? A big part of Qigong is taking in breath with an intention. starting to do things with an intention, starting to live with an intention. And when you do that, some of the kind of peripheral extra stuff kind of gets out of the way. You kind of clear, it's almost like you clear some of the water before you even start, right? And I think it's a big part of this is people need to expand. I know that some of this sounds ethereal to some people, or it sounds, could sound woo-woo to people from a very Western culture. But traditionally, this is knowledge that has been providing wisdom to people for so long. If you open up a little and start listening to it, and if you try it, if you'll try the tapping, if you'll try the breath, if you'll try slowing down, you might find you actually get somewhere faster than when you were in your rush.
Yeah, no, any place where you're rushing to isn't a good place, right? It's just not. When you learn patience, and those are all of those little lessons, learning patience, because everything comes to you in the time that the universe decides it's time for you to have it. And anything else you do to push it isn't going to work. You can grow in between. So that's why I say grow in between. If I know I want to grow in this, or this is what I want from my life, I should start planting and growing in that direction. So when the opportunity comes, I'm a full plant waiting for someone to go, oh, look, this is a beautiful flower right here. I think I can use this. Right. But Oprah said that, success is having the education and opportunity. So if I already educate myself and I'm already prepared for the lesson, or I already have the lesson, when the opportunity comes, I'm ready for that. And part of Qigong and Tai Chi and all of those things are slowing down, figuring out which direction you want to go to, because when you're in a hurry, you might take a wrong turn. So sometimes going the slow road is so much more effective than running the race and taking 10 different wrong turns, because you weren't completely awake and aware when you were making your run.
Right.
That make any sense?
Yes. No, it does. Yeah.
And how you grow. I mean, I think that's one of those things I think sometimes we underestimate. I always think Chinese bamboo is one of those great examples of this, is because it historically grows super fast, right? But the truth is it spends about 5 years in the dark growing roots and establishing itself before anyone sees it. And then it shoots up feet. And I think people are like that. We get so busy trying to show everybody our growth or show the progress above ground that sometimes we don't slow down and kind of set that foundation. So you can grow fast, but you're going to grow short, or you may crash, or you may fall over, right? As opposed to if you really settle down and don't worry about that everybody else sees it. Just settle in, grow at your pace, and establish your kind of foundation, your principles, your breath, your real meaning and reason for being. And then the world will see your actions.
You have to, that's one of my things I always say, is you have to grow where you're planted. So here I am, here's where I'm planted. And then just allow yourself that space to, like you say, don't worry about what other people think. Don't worry about how other people view your growth, because growth is growth no matter how you look at it. And not all growth is evident. And that's what I love about, even when people say, well, when I go to the gym, I can see what, but all of that sometimes isn't even necessary. Are you going to pick up a truck tomorrow? Do you really need your biceps to be,
You're preaching to the choir here. I'm always like, okay, you can lift 600 pounds. Right. With a bar in a straight space. But can you move a piece of furniture?
Right.
Can you love the person across from you adequately? Can you move your body in a way when things are needed?
Right.
Yeah.
Carl. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, no. I was thinking about when I took your class in Maui, and how it's mainly, like you said, the 50 plus. I love that for wellness. And of course, I'm in that category. Can you share some of the stories? Because that class was awesome for me. So can you share some of your success stories of your clients that, took Qigong, EFT, and meditation, like some of their success stories?
I think the biggest success story of all is the longevity of that I've had in my clients. Many of my clients have been with me 20 plus years.
Wow. Okay, that tells it right there.
What's beautiful about that is they've grown with me and I've grown with them. So I've seen them go from some of them aerobics to weightlifting to, but I've seen them grow into themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And what I can say is evident is they stick with it, but their attitudes have changed. They're not as aggressive about what they want, but they're more sure about where they're going.
Mm.
And I think that's the difference between when you're young and when you're older, is when you get to the point where you're rushing. Sometimes when you, and I'm not even going to call it old enough, wise enough, you can relax and say, I know where I'm going. Like, I woke up this morning and I was thinking, I may not know how I'm getting to where I'm going, but I know exactly where it is.
Mm.
And that's all I need to grow in that direction. You know, my big goal here is I want to meet Oprah because she lives probably about 10 miles away from me. And I can't understand why she won't come over.
Soon, Carl, soon. Keep putting your message out there.
Put it out there.
Universe. Hopefully she'll watch this show.
Yeah, right. Come on, Oprah.
Come on through, Oprah.
Carl, what type of advice would you give someone who's just starting out in starting Qigong and EFT? What kind of advice would you give someone?
Enter it with an open mind. Honor where you are all of the time. You know, some days you feel different. Some days you're going to feel different. You have to find the practice that's right for you. Like I said, Tai Chi didn't work for me, but there are millions and millions of people that does work for.
Right.
So you can't just pick one form. Like people would say, they went to one yoga class. I hate yoga. But there are 50 different million ways to have a yoga class or having a yoga experience. So you have to find the practice that works for you, and don't be disappointed or distracted if that first time you do it, it doesn't work. If the first time you go to a meditation class and it doesn't work for you, sometimes it was the environment, sometimes it was the teacher, because not every teacher is for everybody.
Right.
So maybe you just picked the wrong teacher. So be patient with it, because you will find a practice in there that will work for you, and it'll be different, but adjacent to whatever works for all of us. So you have to find that thing that you love. Like I love the beauty of Qigong is I can do something 30 times, 20 times. And every time I do it, it feels a little bit different and a little bit better.
Right.
So I know in that practice, in that very minute, that I'm lifting my shoulders and letting them down. On time 20, my whole mind, body, and spirit are connected to that.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's what we just have to be patient with it and patient with yourself. Take your time and figure out what it is that's actually going to work for you.
Right. Well, I tell you, I go back to when I was there and in the class and how you were with everyone that was in the class, because it was pretty full that day that we were there. And I think also not only did you help because of the type of instructor that you are, but my goodness, called the weather. That helped too.
Yeah.
That Maui weather just really, really helped. I mean, it was like.
Can you tell we want to go?
Well, actually,
you know, it's fresh air. It's
Yes.
so different. It really is. It just,
yeah, from a health standpoint, right? You've lived in so many different places.
Yes.
Maybe can you talk about that journey a little bit from the standpoint and why, for your health, why you felt like that was the place you needed to go back to, and maybe for people who are stuck in the race, can they find their own space?
That was good.
I've lived a lot of places, so we'll start with that. And I've loved a lot of places. I really did. I love Germany. I love Holland. I love France. I love Spain. I love all of those places where I've had the great opportunity to be, work, live. But there was always a calling for me. And I came to Maui probably in the 90s, and it didn't affect me at all. I was like, that was just another place. The second time I came, there was a calling. There was something that was saying, you really belong here. It's the free living that's so nice. And I'm being a Black man and not having discrimination.
Right.
What a relief. I mean, that's gonna add 10 years to my life. I think it already has. Because
great.
yeah, I can't even tell you. I joke all the time when I explain to my Hawaiian friends, people who've never been to the mainland really or experienced much of it. what it's like to go into a department store and not have anyone follow you. What a different experience that is. And when you realize that the whole world's not going to treat you as a Black man differently, then you have to find a place what works for you. Some people, you can live in that kind of interrogation at all times in your life. To me, that's just a lot of stress put on another person, put on you. Yeah. And so I think that if you can't move to Hawaii, you have to then find yourself a nice green space of your own. It's your place to be. It's your place to go and just unwind. If it's a park, whether you want to put a couple of plants on your deck, but you have to find a little green space and give yourself just enough time to pause and breathe every day to communicate with yourself. And for as long as we've been living, people told us it's wrong to be childish, grow up. And are you crazy? Are you talking to yourself? But both of those things are wrong. We should be childish all of the time, and we should always talk to ourselves because it's important.
Yes. Yeah. Look, I think it's so funny that we are in this, especially the Western world, in a massive race to grow up and become adults, only so that we can try to go back and find time to be playful, right? After we've lost it. Yeah. And I think that's such a huge thing, is like, don't lose that childlike wonder. Don't lose the beauty. And see, also, it will keep you from being so judgmental with everybody else because you don't make the assumption that you know.
Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask also, because I know it's pretty much getting close to time to wrapping up because you do have clients. One question though, how do you approach holistic practices in everything that you do? And, with the Qigong, EFT, and meditation, how does that incorporate that particular?
I think it's so integrated into my spirit that there's no way I could teach you anything without touching your mind, your body, and your soul at the same time, because otherwise I used to just teach people from the exterior standpoint. And now that I know better, like Maya said, now that I have to do better. Right. So that's my truth. My truth is, I can't just teach you this. I can teach you this, but I just can't teach you that without teaching you this. So I know the importance of being connected, mind, body, and spirit, to all aspects of your life. All aspects. Because like I said, it never disconnects. We're always connected. So I think that when it comes to how I treat my clients and how I work with them, how I treat my family and my friends is the same. I don't change in that. I make sure that I mindfully approach all of the situations. And I think that that's what wisdom teaches you. Wisdom teaches you that when I connect everything, and I enter everything mindfully, then I know how to be, what's the word I'm looking for? I can just discern between what I want to do and who I want to be and how I feel about this and who and where and why, all those things that you have up in here. When I can filter down and just settle, root, and say, okay, Carl, what is it that you really want today? How do you plan to grow today? Everything is better from that point because I've already set my intentions, like you said, my intentions. Right. This is what I intend. And now I'm going to grow from my intentions. So right. I'm just, my word for people, because I do need to grow from your intentions, learn to love from the inside out. Okay. Learn that you don't have to do an hour of meditation to be meditating. It could be 3 minutes that you just stop, pause, and focus on your breath.
And
pause and just go ahead, sir.
No, I want you to, because I know you got to run to class. How do people, how does Oprah find you? Right? How do people find you and connect with you? Because before you go, come on, Carl, give it to us.
Well, the easiest, there are easy ways to find me. My name is Carl Powell, Powell, carlpowell.com. Or you can go to growwithcarl.com. All of my information is there. The greatest thing I learned about having a hashtag, and I don't know if everybody knows this, but your hashtag is the story of your life. So if you go on Google and you put @GrowWithCarl, it will tell you every single thing about me, everything I've ever posted. every picture I've taken or that even appears on the internet, because
Right.
your hashtag is your life story. So I'm telling everyone, make a hashtag that's your life story and include growth in that hashtag.
Well, did you hashtag Oprah?
You know,
I don't know
Hey.
a lot of times those hashtags do work, but yeah. I want her to find mine. Sometimes people need to find you. You know, it's better.
Agreed.
You
That's
can find people, but sometimes people need to find you.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
I'm just-
I'm
And
looking
you will
for
be
the
found.
opportunity to grow with you.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
All of us.
help me grow. Help us
Yep.
grow.
Well, hey, next time that I come back, we will do
Okay.
a little qigong, and we'll do a segment, and then you can tell people from what you just did how you feel.
Okay.
So we'll do
Wonderful.
a little
That's
bit
amazing.
of tapping, and we'll do from 0 to 10 how you feel when you start and how you feel
Okay.
when we finish.
Thank you, Carl. We
Thank you, Carl.
appreciate
So much.
you.
Have a
No,
great
thank you so
class.
much.
Have a great class, and we definitely appreciate you being on with us so early in the morning. All righty. Mahalo.
Thank you, lovesick people. I
Thank
will see
you.
you soon. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.
All right. Bye now.
All right. Bye. Wow, that was a great show, wasn't it, guys?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely learned a lot about my mind and body.
No, I mean, Carl hit so many really important
He did.
factors that I don't think people
Right.
talk about enough, which the biggest one is you don't have to have a lot of time. I
Right.
think we get wrapped into this thing that we have to like complete something, right? Like it has to be
Yeah.
20, 30, 40, 50 minutes in order for
Right.
it to be valuable. And the truth is, tapping for 2 minutes could change your whole day,
Mhm.
right? Meditation for 3 minutes in between two meetings, or, you get to, we all have families, right? You go to drop off your kids and you're stressed and there's all this stuff and it's 2 minutes and I'm waiting in the car line maybe at the school, or I'm waiting at practice, right? And I'm waiting for them to be done. That's the perfect time
To tap.
to do
Yeah.
2 minutes
I
or
know.
to
Yes.
center, to put your breathing, to do a little
Absolutely.
qigong, to do a little mini meditation.
Right.
So when your kids come to you, they get the best version of you.
Yeah. Hey, Mom.
Yeah.
Hey, children. Yeah.
Well, because they're going to come with a problem, a reason,
Of
or
course,
the next
of
thing,
course.
right?
You
Or
get your
the
tap
next
on.
request,
And then
right?
when you start, like, you just say, hey.
Yeah. Hold on.
I know.
Hold on. Hold
Hey, but you know what? They could start doing that
Yes.
themselves.
That's right.
Well,
yeah.
and that's the other part. I think so often, there's so many different areas of life where sometimes we judge people's movements or things out in the
Right.
world. That person may be really centering and it may
Mhm.
keep them from having a negative reaction in
Yeah.
the world. Like,
That's
I'm going to
true.
tell you right now, you may want me to tap sometimes before I respond to you based on what you said to me.
I think that message, with everything that he was saying, is great
Yeah.
because basically at the end of the day, you don't have to always run to the gym.
Yes.
You don't always have time. Take the time that you have and do something productive with it.
Yep.
I think that's the message.
I think that's a message.
Yeah,
That will
and
be-
grow. And for
Yeah.
all of you who watch this show,
Yeah.
for all of you who take in Lovesick, this is an opportunity for you to grow and grow with us.
Yeah,
May we grow together and keep bringing you great information.
exactly. Just keep watching us. Thanks for watching and tap on.
Thanks for watching. Official Lovesick Podcast. Have a good
Lovesick
one.
Podcast, yeah.